Hey everybody, you're going to be using the background eraser tool in the video that follows. This is just a little brief introduction that I recorded actually after filming the instructional video because there were a couple of things that I noticed that might trip you up. So when you use the background eraser tool, by default the background eraser is hiding behind Photoshop's regular eraser tool in the tools panel. To select it, right click with Windows or Control click on the eraser tool, and then choose the background eraser tool from the flyout menu that appears. So it looks like this right here. And honestly, when I click on the eraser tool, I just hold down on the eraser tool when I click, and then without releasing the button, I go over and hover over the tool I want to use and then release, and it selects for me, but you can do it this way also. Once you have the background eraser tool selected, this is the way the target's going to look. To choose what you're going to erase, and see there's these crosshairs in the middle. Something I've noticed is that my screen capture software doesn't accurately portray where the target is. So let me just show you what I mean by that. Let me find this is the original image that I'm gonna work on, and I'm opening it with Illustrator just because it's easier for me to illustrate what I'm talking about for you. So the target is not accurate, and it makes the crosshairs sort of appear like they're somewhere other than where they actually are when I'm working. So after Illustrator shows up, I'm just going to draw the target over the image and kind of show you what I mean. This is important stuff over here. Adjusting the size of the brush, you can use the left bracket key to make the target smaller, the right bracket key to make the area that it affects larger. So the circle actually around the target shows you how much of your picture is going to be affected by the eraser tool. All right, so here we go, and there's the image. Now, here's the deal. So I'm going to use my ellipse tool to draw a circle and sort of show you what I mean. Okay, so here's a circle, and I'm going to make the circle a little bigger so you can see it. Okay, so if this is the circle and the dot in the middle is my crosshairs, so let's move it over here. When you are erasing, I feel like my screen capture software makes it look like the target here is on, like, for example, I want to get rid of the background behind the shirt, and my screen capture software sort of makes it look like I'm clicking on the shirt, but I am absolutely not. I'm clicking over here, okay, away, just outside of whatever I want to leave remaining, because I'm trying to get rid of this background stuff. And so I put my target over various things on the background, close to the image that I want to remain, because I want to get rid of all this stuff that's near the image that's in the background there. So that's where my target should be, is in the area outside. If you click over here, if you put the target on the shirt, you're going to erase the texture of the shirt, you know. And so as I'm working around, I'm placing the target in these areas, okay? Hopefully this explains that, because it could get confusing if you're watching the video. And it looks like I'm placing the target over here on my face, but that's not a good idea, because that would actually erase the photo, which is the only part of the image I'm trying to keep, because I'm trying to get rid of all this stuff back there. That's what background erase means, right? So here's adjusting the size of the brush. This makes the opening bracket is going to make the area that gets erased by the brush smaller. Clicking on the right bracket or the closing bracket tool is going to make the circle bigger so you can erase a larger area, okay? That should clear up any of the difficulties that you have with this tool. And so the video that follows here will give you more in-depth explanation about how to use the background eraser tool to make some pretty cool things happen with your Photoshop images. Have fun, everybody. Hey everybody, we're going to have some more fun with Photoshop, and we're going to use the background eraser tool and color replacement to change an image of yourself. So if you see right here, I took a photo of myself just with my screen capture shot from my computer on my from the camera on my computer. So I'm going to open that up with Photoshop. Okay, and in Photoshop, I'm going to use my background eraser tool. So you've got your regular eraser tool, which would just, erase just like that. But your background eraser tool right here is, see the dot in the middle of the eraser? Whatever color it's on, it's going to erase. See, it just did that that way. And so what I'm going to do is go over here, and right now, let's set my tolerance all the way up. So if your tolerance is all the way up, and you go over here, see your options are up here. Just go over here, and if I click on this, it's going to erase. It's principally going to erase the color that the dot is on. But as you can see there, I hit Command Z to undo, which is something you're definitely going to want to do when you're trying to do this, because sometimes the tolerance won't be set right. It's going to erase too much. I took this photo with some fluorescent lighting, and the color of the fluorescent lighting kind of shows up on everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here to tolerance, and I'm going to move that tolerance down to, like, let's try 15% and see what we get. So I'll come back down here. Much better. Okay, so I'm going to erase around here, and we'll see how much I can get without erasing my face. So I'm just working around the edge of my photo. See, one of the cool things here is, like, I've got that little bit of hair. I can leave that. I can erase everything around it and still leave. See, now that's not going to work out. So go back. Let's see if I go here. Even there, that's causing problems. This blue should go. Okay, and then maybe here. Yeah, that's okay. I'll show you. We'll use the regular eraser tool to get the stuff that just won't erase properly with the background erase tool. But first, you want to get as much as you can with the background erase tool. So I'm going to move my tolerance down even more and see if that can't help me get this stuff. So I'm going to use the background eraser tool to erase as much as I can. And I move my tolerance down to 8%. Let's see if that helps. Yeah, that worked pretty good there. Just keep working around this way. See, even there, I've erased a little bit of the shirt, and that's not cool. So I'm going to step backwards one more time. Yeah, and now I'm going to have to switch to my regular eraser tool. So I'll just go over here, switch to eraser tool, and I'm just going to go at it, right? Just get rid of all of this stuff that I can. So the advantage of using the background eraser tool was with just these small areas, and I actually see one more area that I can hit up with the background eraser tool to improve things. So I'm going to zoom in and kind of hover in on here, switch over to background erase, then come over here. Now your brackets, which are right underneath of your curly brackets, like if you go on your keyboard, they're right underneath the plus and equal sign keyboard. You want to use bigger and smaller brackets, like opening and closing brackets will decrease and increase the size of the circle around your background eraser. So I'm going to decrease it pretty small, and see, I'm just going to go in these little areas right here and open this space up, and you'll see that when you put you'll put a new background into the photo, right? And that will allow that background to be visible through these spaces, which adds a lot of realism to the edited photo. So just kind of go to town on this stuff. Accuracy is pretty important here, right? Sometimes you end up erasing a little bit of like here, I'm going to erase little tiny bits of my hair in the photo, but that's okay, because I feel like it's worth it to just create these open spaces that make the photo look a lot better. So here you're really seeing the advantages of the background eraser tool and why you use it. Okay, that's pretty good. So now you can just hit the E button to switch to eraser, but actually I've got to go back over here to the side menu if I want to switch up. There's 3 different eraser tools, and to switch between the 3, you need to go over to the toolbar on the side there. So I'm just going to continue to go through here. Make this a little bit smaller. Work on that. Get rid of this. Remember, Command Z if you erase something you don't want to erase. Command or Control Z on a PC. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. Sometimes I speak in Mac language because I always work on Apple computers, but it would be Control on your PCs. So then you need to just kind of zoom in with your eraser tool and make the eraser smaller and just work on the edges here. Just refine the edges. So I'm going to work on these edges and I'll be back with you in just a minute. If you're following along at home, once you're done with the background eraser tool, do just like I'm doing and take the time to kind of scroll around the edge of your image and get rid of where there's might be a little bit of dark space left. Okay, we're back. I want to show you something else now that's important about getting your entire background erased. So right here, if you look at this photo, it looks pretty good. I've got almost everything gone, but it's kind of hard to tell. Like if you look in areas down over here by my left shoulder or over my right actually, and then up around my head, you can see there's just some kind of fuzzy areas and it can be tough to see those. So what you're going to do is you're going to create a new layer. So that's right here next to the trash can. There's this little piece of paper with its corner folded up, and you'll click here and that'll create a new layer that you should be able to see over here in your layers panel. Okay, I'm going to drag this layer down so that it is below the actual layer 0 with my picture on it. And then I'm going to come and I'm going to lock the layer with my photo. So I'll click on the layer with my photo and click lock for just a moment. Okay. And that'll mean so that while I'm doing this next small step, I can't alter my photo at all or move it around while I'm going to add this rectangle behind my image. So I'm going to click on the rectangle tool and I'll go over here and I'll go all the way up to the top corner of my image, and I'll drag all the way down to the bottom corner, and it's going to create a black rectangle. And let's see, that's good enough. And I'm going to change the color of the black rectangle. I'm going to change it. Actually, yeah, let's see how this looks actually first. So look, when I created the rectangle, I hadn't selected the new layer I created, so I need to drag it down. And then put it right here. Okay, and there I am in front of the rectangle. So now you can see that some of these lighter areas sort of show up over the black better than they did the clear background. So now I'm going to unlock the photo and select onto the layer that the image is on. I'm going to go back over to my eraser tool, and I'm just going to go over here and get rid of this stuff. Okay. So I'm going to work my way around all of this, and there's kind of a lot there. Let's see, I have some over here. You can see sort of the roughest areas are right in around my hair here. So, you know, I might have to do things like zoom in, that's Control or Command and the plus sign. Command on the Mac, Control plus on the PC. And I'll zoom way in, that's kind of creepy. And then I'm going to go over here and I'll use the opening bracket key to reduce the size of my eraser. I'm just going to work in through some of this stuff. Like, I certainly don't want that green in there. And see, when you get zoomed in enough, like it's actually showing me pixels now. So I can just work around these pixels, and no matter what, even if this is actual, if I am actually erasing parts of the image of my hair, it doesn't matter because I do not want any green in this photo. And for whatever reason, I've gotten artifacts in the process that have added these green colors, and I don't want that stuff at all. So I'm just gonna work my way through till I can get rid of stuff that's messing with the image. So let's increase the size of this a little bit. Eraser, and I'm gonna work through. See, this stuff looks kind of bluish. I don't want any of that. And you know, this work is super detail oriented. If you want photos that you're altering to look really good, you've got to take the time to do this kind of thing. And I'll be looking on your work, I'll be looking for detail. And I'll hit you up for failing to take the time to fix some of this stuff, because it also is, I mean, for you learning how to do this, a lot of this work is you learning to practice with your tools. And so I'm going to expect that you do that. So now what I'm going to do is, just like I did before when I was erasing the edges around my photo, I'm going to take some time and really look at the details. And what I'll do is I'll trace around the whole side of the image like this. And I'll go to each new part, and when I get there, I'll just spend some time fixing some of these colors and erasing some of the errors that are in the adjustment. And I'm gonna pause the video now and fix some of that stuff, and you can do the same, and then I'll be back in just a minute. Wanted to show you, you know, as I was working around the image, over here on this side, I've noticed a lot of sort of brighter areas. So what I'm doing is zooming into that where I can see it on the pixel level. And I've actually selected my background eraser tool again. And I'll go right in on these individual pixels that I don't like their color. And I'll just click using the background eraser tool. And I think that's doing a better job for me. One thing I've noticed, and I will have, as you're watching the video, I've already told you about this, is the my screen capture software is making the target a little bit off in the circle for my eraser tool, especially the background eraser tool. It's making it look like I'm clicking somewhere on the screen that I'm not. So you can just kind of understand that where I'm clicking is on the brighter pixels. It may look like I'm clicking on I'm selecting darker pixels, but I'm picking like these greenish and whitish colored pixels, and those are the ones I'm actually working on right now. But for some reason, the screen capture software is not completely accurate, which is irritating. But you should have already, if you're watching this video, seen my little introduction that'll explain that and give you a little more clarity on right where you need to click to use the background eraser tool properly. The key is that you just want to make sure that the dot in the center of the circle is lined up on pixels that are a color that you want to get rid of, because that's what I'm doing. Depending on the tolerance, it will either select pixels that are exactly the same color and erase them, or it'll look for stuff that's similar in color and get rid of those pixels. Right now my tolerance is set to 8%, so it's being pretty selective about what it's erasing, I hope. Let's zoom back and see how this is looking. Starting to get there. I'm going to keep working on this, and I'll be back with you in just a minute. So now I'm still in this process of, working on erasing pixels that I don't want, and I've switched back over to my regular eraser tool. You just click down and hold down on the eraser tool, and then you can kind of pick up and down as to which tool you want. So it's right here. You click down and hold down, and then you can switch to whatever you want. And so now I'm having trouble kind of seeing what I still need to be erasing. So there's a little eyeball next to each image in your layers panel, and you're going to click on the eyeball next to the rectangle that you've drawn, and that'll make it disappear. As long as if the eyeball's not there, you can't see it, right? So then I'm going to scroll up and I'm going to look for areas that now with a lighter background are more visible to me. So the black background helped me see a lot of stuff I couldn't before, but now I'm switching to a lighter background and seeing if that won't make some things visible that weren't before. Like, for example, I'm seeing some stuff right here, just kind of little like blurry type stuff. And some of this stuff may have been created as you were actually using the background eraser tool with the black background. As you erased certain areas, it might have left little bits of artifact so that you wouldn't be able to see those over the black background, but now when you remove the background, you can see that stuff. And I'm going to zoom out. And this is looking pretty good. I see some stuff right over here over my shoulder. Get rid of that. Okay, I've left, see some of this stuff right up here I'm not super happy with. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to color some areas back in where I've removed stuff. So what I'm going to do for that is use the brush tool, and I'm just going to hit the letter B or select right here. So there's the brush tool. And if you just hit B, it selects it. Okay, but I need to select the color that I want to replace. So I'm going to hit the I button, which is going to make this little eyedropper pop up, and I'm going to hover over my hair and click on that, and then I'll hit and that will select that exact color that I clicked on, and I'll hit the B tool, which goes back to the brush. I'm going to shrink the brush down just a little bit, and I'm going to color this stuff in. All right, so I'm just going to kind of zoom in here and click. And see, it's going to fill in the areas with the exact color that I selected. And it's going to be a pixel by pixel selection. You got to be careful doing this, because if you do too much, it's going to look like just blobs on your photo. You got to sort of, like right here, the areas I'm filling in are pretty darkly colored already, so I'm hoping that it'll look all right when I finish. Looking to see if there's any more areas. Oh, over here would be a good spot for me to kind of color in. That looks pretty good. Maybe right here, but I need to use a different color, I think. So I'll go hit the I button again. It's a little lighter color, so I'll go B to go back to the brush after I've used the I tool to select a color, and I'm just going to brush in a little bit. I don't know, maybe it could make my hair look thicker if I go through here. What do you think? How's that look? All of a sudden, I'm not quite as old. That doesn't look good. You can see there's some blobs. Like, see right in here, that really does look like a blob. You can do stuff like that with Photoshop, though. Like, it is absolutely used that way. It's one of the reasons, like, when you see these people like models and so forth, when you see pictures of them, they don't really look like real human beings because they absolutely use Photoshop. I have a friend that's does that for a living, and she has a birthmark on her neck, and that birthmark never shows up in photos because they just brush it right out. Okay, that looks pretty good. So this is maybe not completely perfect. Let's see one little bit. I can go ahead and remove a little bit over here. See right around the edge of the shirt. It's like a little bit of a dark area. I'm just going to go ahead and do this. And remove that a little bit. Okay, So now I've got a pretty good image created. So I'll just go ahead and hit File and Save. And I will just call it Headshot. And save it on my desktop. And I don't want to save it as a PDF. I just want to save it as Photoshop image. And I've got the layer saved. And just go ahead and hit save. Okay, and so now I've saved a Photoshop image of that initial photo, and it actually came from this photo, and now it looks like this one here. So let's go back over to Photoshop. Okay, so now remember when we took this photo, there was fluorescent lighting used, and sometimes that can just wash out an image and make it not look that great. So what I'm going to do is go Image, Adjustments, and go down to Hue and Saturation. And let's see if I can't just work on some of this saturation to kind of get rid of some of that. It's really kind of a reddish color. See, I can go way up here. Whoa, that's not good. Go way down here and turn it into a black and white photo. I don't want to do any of that. Just kind of trying to take out a little bit of the red maybe. Then let's see what we do if we can adjust the hue a little bit. That's making me look too blue, too green. Whoa. Kind of mess with some of this stuff and see if you can find an improved area. Maybe that's a little bit better. Can lighten it a little bit, darken it a little bit. I'm just going to lighten it just a touch. And just kind of mess with that until you're happy with it. Yeah, changed a little bit. If I hit colorize, we'll do that. That's not cool. Okay, so we're going to go there. And, you know, there's other options. Do that. Don't like that. Let's go back to custom. Zip this back down. I think that's about as good as I'm going to get. So I'm going to click OK on that. And there's other image adjustments that you can make. There's lots of choices. Auto tone, image adjustments, auto color. Okay, that looks pretty good. So a lot of the stuff Photoshop will do for you, and for me, I do that a lot of the time. Okay, but you have all of this other stuff that it'll do. But I'm going to leave it like this. I think auto color actually helped me the most as I was doing this. So now let's go over the internet and see if we can't find some cool background photos so that we can put me in an odd setting. Actually, no, before we do that, let's use that color replacement tool that we used on our last assignment, and let's use that to change the color in your, I'm going to change it on my shirt here, okay? So what we're going to do is find our color replacement tool. It's right here by the brush. So I'm going to go to color replacement, and it looks like it's kind of small there. Make sure I'm selected here. And let's see, what color are we going to change my shirt to? I'm going to give myself a, let's see if we can make my shirt blue. That. And see, I switched it to blue, and now I'm just clicking on the shirt and changing the whites to blues. Pretty cool. Maybe I'll make it a little bit of a darker blue. Okay, click around and do some of that kind of work if you want. You could even go to the brush tool. I mean, rather you're on one of the brush tools, but you switch back to the regular brush tool, hit I, and select the color blue you like. Go back to B and see, like over in this area, it's kind of all so light. I could kind of color in the shirt a little bit like this if I wanted to. But I feel like it's tough to do this and maintain the kind of realistic look of the photo. So you have to really take a lot of time if you want to color in this way. I'm not super psyched about the way that's working out. So, I don't know if I like that. Let's see. And then if I erase, so the way to get rid of it has got to be the step backwards. So step backwards is just gonna, I'm just gonna use the menu up here and just keep stepping backwards. Alt Control Z or Alt Command Z if you're on a Mac, and I'll just keep hitting that until all of this is gone, because it was a nice attempt, but not really fixing it. And then also, so right here, I went too many steps and it's not fixing it, so I can go, I choose that color white again, go back to the brush tool, paint this stuff all back white again. Not happy with that either. All right, so I got that worked out the best that I could. And now I'm going to go over to the worldwide interwebs and try and find a nice big photo of something cool that I can put myself in front of to change this image. So I'm just going to go over to good old Google Chrome, and you can do the same thing. You know, you're just going to select on image search. And there, and there, and there. Just click on images. And, I don't know, cartoon background is what I'm going to search. And I'll use their recommendation and look up cartoon background scene. There's some stuff. I'm going to go to search tools, and I usually go for bigger images. So this says large, so they should be pretty big. Look and see if there's anything really cool here. That one looks kind of neat. That one looks pretty cool. Let's go with this. Save image as. I'm going to just put it on my desktop. Forest. And save. Okay. So now I don't need this anymore. And remember, just like I did here, so I could still be having that background. But I'm going to get rid of that in just a minute. So I'm going to add a new layer. drag the top of my screen over so that I can see this forest that I added on the onto my desktop. I'm going to lock my photo just to make sure I don't mess that up. Okay, and I'm just going to select layer 1 here. Take the photo and just drag it to the top of the image and drop it. And there it is. Okay, and that actually came in pretty nicely sized. But I'm just going to move it over to the corner there. And I'm going to drag it. And I'm going to hold down the Shift key so that I keep the perspective on it. And there we go. Now, let's see if it will look nicer if I move it up some. I'm just going to leave it like that. Once I finally got it where I want it, I'll hit Enter. And there we go. So there I am in the jungle with a blue shirt on and a relatively good job of removing everything from my background. You know, I think some of the parts that look particularly good are right here where I have some hair and you can see the background still behind it. And if you zoom in and look close, it still looks all right. So there you go. That's what I want you to do. You know, of course, you could put all kinds of different things in the background behind your image, but I'd like you to use the color replacement tool, use the background eraser, add a new background, and create a cool photo of yourself. You know, these are fun to use as like your Facebook cover shot. You know, it's Halloween, so maybe you'd want to go over to the internet and pick a Halloween background. Scary background, images, let's see, for Halloween there's spooky stuff. Let's see, where's something scary? Which one of these is scariest? We'll go with, that's kind of spooky. Haunted house. That's kind of scary. So view image. I could take this and put it on my desktop. And I can go back over here and I can put in a whole different, I can hit the eyeball on this, make that disappear, put in a new layer, take and select that layer. And I can go drop that in, come over here, resize again. I'm still going to use the Shift key because I don't want to distort the perspective on the image, even though it'll cause some of the image to not show up. But now, scary background, Halloween photo, you know, that sort of thing. So that's what I want you to do. You don't have to do a Halloween photo, or you don't have to do a cartoon photo. You can do whatever you want. But once you're done, you do File, Save As. I'm going to put it on my desktop. And it wants to do it as a Photoshop image, but we're not going to do that. We're going to go to JPEG because JPEG works nicely with Facebook or anywhere where you might want to share photos. Right there, and then it's going to be on my desktop. I'll hit Save, and I'll hit Okie dokie. And so now over here on my desktop, if I kind of switch over here on my desktop, and this is just my image viewer or preview is the Apple one, so I'll just open it up, and there you go. That's just a regular JPEG photo that you could use wherever you wanted to. The nice spooky Halloween background. So that's what the assignment is. I want you to create that JPEG, and then I want you to give me a before and after image. So that's my before, that's my after image. Here's my before image. Send them both to me so that I can see the work that you've done and upload those to Blackboard and email them to me as well for redundancy, just so we can make sure you get the photo to me, and that's going to be your next Photoshop assignment. Thanks.